Thank you so much for joining us on Impact Catalyst. I'm Ashley Morales, and joining us today is Melissa Lay, co founder and executive director of Florida's Unique Education Learning Support, or FUELS for short. Thank you so much for being here, Melissa.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely, us too. So, can you give us a little bit of background on how FUELS got started?
Absolutely. I was a kindergarten teacher here at a local Title I school in St. Petersburg, and I left my position to school my own children at home, whom both have unique needs that were not being met in the traditional classroom setting. But it was really a hard choice because I loved the school that I attended. I absolutely felt like it was my calling to be surrounded by that staff and those students who support that community. I have a heart for Title I schools, and it was really hard to walk away, but I knew that this was what was best for my family. So, in order to kind of mend my broken heart a little bit, it was important that my girls and I stayed really heavily involved and connected in that school that I taught at. So we went back, the girls would teach. We had some amazing teachers that allowed the girls to come in and teach lessons to the school, to their classrooms. And we brought support, whatever it was that the community needed. So that often looked like jackets, mitten, clothes, food. We knew when students went home for the week at Thanksgiving that they may not have any meals. So we would bring bags of non-perishable food items to give to every kid. And we really were involved in supporting the school in that way. And at the same time, I was also getting a lot of requests from friends and acquaintances to ask for help and how to advocate for their student who had a 504 or an IEP in the classroom. So I got heavily involved as well in advocating for students with exceptionalities and teachers and families, and became involved locally, statewide, and nationally in advocating for education and families. So and this was a 9-year process. And about 2 years ago, a friend introduced me to Nikki Larson, who works in exceptional education classroom. And she firsthand was seeing the thousands of dollars that the teachers in her school, she works in Hillsborough County School, and her school, um, that they were reaching into their own pockets to meet the needs of their exceptional education students just to make sure that their IEPs were being met. So together, the two of us formed FUELS so that we could bridge the gap from what the districts provide to what the teachers and students actually need to be successful in the classroom.
And as far as I understand, making sure the IEPs are met, that's a requirement, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And so, how does that look like, or how does that take shape now after that long journey today for teachers in the classroom?
When we first created it, we're like, we want to make sure that the programs that we have are going to support all of the different needs that we know exist in the classroom. And that can look like a lot of different ways. So we have 3 programs of support that start education essentials. That could be anything like a laminating machine, laminating pouches, a printer paper, colored ink. Because let's say a child with an IEP says on their IEP that they need to have printed out instructions in color. Some schools don't allow teachers to have printed materials. The teachers have to pay for it themselves. Other schools allow black and white copies. Some don't have any at all. The stories that I have heard are crazy, and it varies so much from district to district and to classroom and school to school, because like I said, some schools have this. You have a lot of these supplies that were being funded by PTAs. Some PTAs bring in thousands of dollars, and then other schools, their PTAs are really run by the teachers that are already in that school, so there aren't those resources and those families that are there to able to support them. So we basically have a support process where teachers can come to us and say, we need, I need, I need a colored printer for my classroom, or I just need ink. I have a printer, but I need ink. And this is what I need it for. This is how many exceptional education students it will support. And we just send them that ink, and they're able to immediately meet the need of their students. So what's truly different about FUELS compared to some of the other organizations that provide school supplies, say a school supply drive, or it's not just any type of school materials that we're providing. It's very specifically tailored to what a teacher or student in the classroom needs. So, Education Essentials is one of the programs. Another program is Sensory Support. This is a really big one because when you are thinking about school supply drives, people aren't thinking, hey, I need to go out and buy a weighted vest to bring to a teacher who might need this for their student that needs it. So, this covers everything from noise canceling headphones to a weighted vest, flexible seating, so many different types of resources that really truly help a teacher make sure that everyone in the classroom has all the tools that they need to be successful. The third program of support that we created is non-standard educational support. And what falls under this is non-perishable food items, snacks, clothing, socks, underwear, and it has evolved since we started into care closets as well. Because what we found is there are a lot of schools, and not just Title I schools, where there are families and students that are in need and they don't have the basic things that they need in order to be successful. And a lot of people are like, I just really don't understand how socks or underwear help a child learn. But if your basic needs aren't met, you cannot begin to learn. So the idea of the care closet is it's set up in a classroom or a guidance counselor's office or a central place in the school where any child can go and freely get something that they have. And that might just be a child who woke up late and was running late and didn't have a chance to grab a snack for the day, or they forgot to brush their teeth and there's a toothbrush and toothpaste in there. So they're not going through the day worried about those things. Or it may be even deeper than that, where you have a child who needs something more for their needs to be met on a regular basis.
Well, and I think I heard a stat recently, and I don't know it offhand, but a large number of students in Pinellas County here are on the free and reduced lunch program and may have some of these needs that you're talking about.
Yes, yes, absolutely. We have a lot of Title I schools in Pinellas County.
And so, fuels, remind me, do you just serve Pinellas County or what is your service area?
So we serve the entire state of Florida. So far, we have a presence and have worked with classroom teachers in 13 counties. So we are, as the word of mouth is growing, our impact has been able to spread all over. So far, 69% of what we've donated has stayed in Pinellas County because this is where I am from and this is where my connections were most heavily. And when you're first starting something, it's easy to get the word out with people that you already know and schools and teachers that already have relationships with.
Well, and I'm sure as the word grows, you guys will continue to grow as well too, because teachers talk and especially, hey, I was able to get this and I couldn't get it anywhere else. That will spread.
Yes, when the first round of support, I will tell you, teachers thought I was joking when we said, just fill out this form, let us know what you need, and let's see how we can support you. Somebody actually said to me, I thought this was a scam. They're just so not used to having the support that they need, or they're so used to doing it themselves. Teachers are helpers. They're used to just digging in and getting what they need, or the process to get the support is a lengthy one where they have to fill out all these things or go through a grant process. So the first round, it was like really hard to get people to buy into the fact that we were here to offer support. But as you said, teachers started receiving supplies, and then they're telling teachers in their school, and the word did quickly spread, and they see that we're the real deal.
And so I know you guys have done some measurement. What is the data so far show on what your impact has been?
So we are just over 2 years old. We turned 2 in September. So far, we have supported 8,892 students across 13 counties, donating over $45,800 in supplies. And when we started with those three main programs of support. And as we've connected with communities and teachers and we've listened to their feedback, we realized that they also we realize that they've asked for tailored professional development. They've asked, how can we better support our neurodivergent students in the classroom? And so we've spread our programs to also offer professional development training specifically tailored to the teachers that we support and what they're requesting in their classroom. It's different than their district training. We were able to partner with Inclusivology. We paid them to come and teach our teachers, the 82 teachers, for free. And we also supplied them with the resources so they could immediately go back to the classroom, take what they learned and implement it with their students, and not have a training where you're like, oh, this is great, but I don't have these resources to implement it.
Exactly. So where has a lot of the support been coming from? Are most of the supplies donated, or are you fundraising? How is that working for you?
The support has been amazing. Our community is so wonderful. A lot of the supplies are just purchased through Fuels based on monetary donations. We have had a few occasions. One person donated over 900 Amazon books to us, and we were able to send those to appropriate homes and teachers. So we've had some instances like that. Someone donated computers, and we were able to get those to a school. Very few of those, most of it are monetary donations. In May, we were awarded $18,300 by 100 Women Who Care, and that completely funded our workshops for our teachers this July. We also were just recently selected as the Silver Bowl recipient for the St. Petersburg Women's Chamber, so they will be collecting for us monthly at their monthly luncheons, which is amazing. We've also were lucky enough to be chosen the last 2 Octobers from Duke Energy. Their dispatch department picks a charity, and they do the Power of Giving campaign, and they selected Fuels. So we've gotten donations from them, and U.S. Health Advisors in Tampa chose us 1 month for their charity. So we've had some corporations come in, really get behind our cause and understand the need that happens in our community. I think everyone knows a teacher who spends money out of their own pocket, or a student who is having a missing need and wants to fill that. So we've been fortunate to have some corporate sponsors and a lot of individual people who have just stepped up and said, let me fundraise for you. Let me do a Facebook fundraiser for my birthday, or let me give you an individual donation. So we've been very, very fortunate that the community sees the importance of what we're doing.
That has to be encouraging as well to have that support as a young nonprofit.
Yes, absolutely. It's scary to start something brand new. And as a young nonprofit, you really don't have anything for operating cost or, to get the supplies. And it was really nerve-wracking to know I'm going to open up this support period and request and allow teachers to request support. I want to be able to fund everything that comes in. I want to be able to meet the needs that they have. So it's scary to say, let me help, but I may not be able to.
What has some of the feedback from teachers been like?
It honestly so amazing. I'm going to try not to cry as I tell you a little bit. The very first feedback that really hit me in the feels is a teacher had requested ink for her printer, and she said, every birthday and Christmas, I ask for colored ink for my classroom because it's like robbing Peter to pay Paul. I need to do this to be successful at my job and to make sure my students have the needs, but I don't make a lot of money. Since she was just blown away by the fact that we were able to provide ink for her. And that's so humbling because, yes, ink is expensive, but that's also such a small thing that we could do to make such a huge difference in her classroom. We this year also provided 82 math kits for virtual school students. And 2 of the students wrote to tell us, I've never had my own calculator before. And I was so blown away by the fact another person said, it's really helpful to have paper and pencil to write down my math problems. Thank you. So I think some of the things that people overlook and just really take for granted, and they don't realize what a huge impact this is making. Most recently, another way, every we had some schools in Pinellas County that were impacted by Helene and Milton. Their schools were completely destroyed, classrooms, and a teacher at Madeira Beach Elementary had posted that her entire classroom, 20 years of personal belongings that she had purchased, that she had used to support her students, was completely thrown out. And we were able to provide a brand new library for her and some other resources to get her classroom up and running: science kits, math kits, bookcases, so that she could start to rebuild this 20 years of things being lost. The most amazing feedback too that we had was from the workshops. Teachers were so incredibly thankful that the workshops were meaningful, that they learned things from each other that they could instantly put into place in the classroom, and they were shocked that they got these materials because they're not used to getting things. They're not used to having the materials to walk away with and not have to purchase out of their own money. So we've had a lot of really great feedback. I could talk about it for hours probably.
Well, and I'm sure, anybody who hasn't parented a child with a specialized need might not understand, but even to this day, the research is still developing and the methods are changing. And so this is a landscape that's constantly evolving.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that's the biggest thing about the professional development for people to understand is that, yes, the districts provide training yearly, but our classrooms are changing. Our kids are changing. Their brains are changing. And as they're changing, we have to change our methods and what's understanding. And as you said, the research is coming out, and there's so many new tools and ways to help support these students. It's exciting I was able to be involved in those workshops every day, and it was exciting to hear the enthusiasm and the passion. I mean, these educators, this is their time off. They're during, some of them taught summer bridge, and they only had 1 week between summer bridge and school starting, and they chose to spend it with us, learning more tools to help craft what they do. So, it was really inspiring, and it made me, want to do what we do even more.
Some of the most passionate people on the planet Earth. Absolutely.
Yes, definitely.
So, people watching this who want to get involved, who want to support you guys, what is the best way for them to do that?
There's so many ways to get involved and to support us. Number one, I would love it if you would follow our social media. That is a place to see what we're doing, what initiatives we have, and how you can get involved and to spread the word. One, spread the word with teachers so that they know we're out there, that we're a resource to help them. We want to make sure that they have what they need so that their students are successful. Also, if you want to set up a drive at your organization or your workplace to collect care closet items, we have an article on our website that tells you what a care closet is, what some of the needs are, or you can reach out to me directly and I can tell you what our current schools that we have a relationship with are in need of. Obviously, donations, in-kind donations, or monetary donations help make what we do possible. And sign up for our newsletter. Our newsletter is so exciting because I get to showcase students and teachers and volunteers, not just the work that Fuels is doing, but you really get to hear those personal stories so you know what's happening in our community.
And a little bright spot in your day reading those, I'm sure.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you, Melissa, so much for being here and for everything that you're doing for our teachers, our students, and our classrooms. It's inspiring and incredible.
Thank you so much for having me. This was wonderful.